Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. My name's Connor Williams, and this is a video basically Beto versus Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Who would you start this weekend? And who would you start going forward as well? But we can start off with this weekend against Southampton. Um, yeah, we'll be talking about their stats, some of the quotes that have been coming out. Obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has a contract up at the end of the season as well. Um, we'll be discussing both of them. It's a conversation I think that is um probably worth having right now. I know in the past I've been a bit more pro Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but the way that we've started this season, I just think and Beto has just scored the one goal, albeit a late minute equaliser against Fulham, which I think has got people very excited. Um, I think just purely because of the lack of goals coming from Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it's certainly worth a conversation. But we'll get into all of that and what they both offer and what they don't offer. And obviously there are a couple more waiting in the wing that we'll get into as well. There are alternatives waiting in the wing. Um, but yeah, if we're going off how the season's been for them both, I've got a little comparison here, just going off the season, and some stats for them. I mean, going off the start of this season, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin has struggled a little bit. He's averaging at about 85 minutes per game, which is fantastic compared to 2 seasons ago. But the goals aren't exactly coming in for him. He's got 9 appearances with 767 minutes played, compared to Beto, who's got 60 minutes played in 5 appearances. Um, so yeah, the way I see it is that the main one for me is Dominic Calvert-Lewin is almost like stapled now in it, and I think the team are built a little bit around him. It's weird to say because if you build your team around the striker, you want your strikers to be getting, you'd hope that means goals. If I said to you, I've built my team around my striker, you'd expect my striker to score quite a lot because I've built the team around him and, he's the focal point up front. Everyone behind in football is to get your forward men moving. So if you're just playing a one like we do so high up and the rest are so deep, you want him to be getting the goals because your whole team behind him is built to defend, but also to provide. So it's really weird to say it, but when you watch us, we are built round him because a lot of the time we do like to play the long direct, diagonal ball forward, and it takes a bit of aerial presence, which both men have got, by the way. Beto is a very, very tall man. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is 6'1", I think he is, and has got an incredible leap and good first touch. What we do afterwards is where I think the team is built around Dominic Calvert-Lewin more than Beto. So we're lumping it up. Calvert-Lewin takes a touch, and then he normally does really well to hold off and play the ball to White McNeil or one of the wingers, in Dye, or Harrison. And he always plays like a 1-2 and then starts to make that late run into the box. He's very much like I wouldn't say complete forward. I'd say more like a target man or a deep lying forward. Whereas Beto, for instance, this is just from the eye, by the way. Just this isn't stats. This is just from the eye test and the way I watch them both. Beto is much more a get the ball, turn around, and run at the goal, which is and take shots wherever and whenever he thinks he can get them off, which is great, in terms of getting goals. The more shots you take, the more goals you'll get. But he has this habit of running into people, and like the defenders will be right behind his right shoulder. He'll get the ball, turn right, and run right into the defender, and it's infuriating to watch. But on the other hand, sometimes watching Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think, God, I wish he'd just run a bit more, take on a man more. You need to. I think with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, we need to get more touch. He needs to get more touches. The Fulham game, I think it was like 60 minutes in, and they put a stat of was it just before half time? They put a stat on the screen, and it was like fewest touches in this game, and Calvert-Lewin had the fewest touches out of all players, by the way, not just Everton and Fulham, and that just for me summed it up. Like we play with Dominic Calvert-Lewin in a way that I've just explained, but I don't think he gets enough touches of the ball. Weirdly enough. We're not getting, and we're certainly not getting enough touches of the ball in the opposition's box, which is where you really want your striker. I mean, this was the thing they were talking about with Erling Haaland when he came, and they were like, does he get enough touches of the ball? And it's like, no, he doesn't. He could have 18 touches of the ball the whole game, but he'll come out with 3 goals because he's where he needs to be. The problem with us is that Dominic Calvert-Lewin isn't having as many touches as we'd like, and he's not coming away with, a hat trick. Because I was a little bit on him and a little bit on the team. I just don't think the touches he's having are in pivotal areas either. But also a little bit on him because I think, as we'll go through when we go through stats now, he can be a little bit more wasteful. So um, in terms of goals, Dominic Calvert-Lewin did 2 goals this season with an expected goals of 3.46, which is what I was saying. He sort of is a little bit wasteful with that shows. He should really be sitting on 4 goals this season, to be completely honest with you, and he's not, which is a little bit wasteful. And unfortunately, I wouldn't normally, pick it up sort of thing, but unfortunately, I think that was pretty much the case for last season as well. It's something that has sort of followed him this season and the last 2 seasons. Is he could be on more goals than he is. Um, and yeah, it's weird. It's so weird to see because I do think he's a good player, but you just hope he'd pick up more goals. Last season he had 7 goals, and he had an XG of 12. He should have been on 12 goals last season. XG on target 9.91. Should have had more goals last season as well. In terms of like his actual shooting, he's been shot off as well this season alone compared to season he has had 21 shots, 9 of them on target, a lot of them in the area, a lot of them in the area. There's only one shot he's had that's outside the area. Obviously, the XG suggests at 3.46 from 12 shots. They're not all great quality shots that he's taking. He should be on 3 goals ideally, but 3.4, 6 XG from 12 shots suggests that some of the shots he's taking on of a good quality. The one outside the area has a low one. And a lot of the situations when you look on like FOTMob that tell you are fast breaks, corners. Um, some of them from regular play, which you don't get, and some of them have been blocked, etc., or he's hit the post. But a lot of these are like saves as well, though, that are like quite central, which you'd sort of hope he'd, be a bit better than. His 3 of them are from fast breaks, 4 from corners, 11 with his right foot, 9 with his head, 1 from his left, 20 inside the area, though. I really would, and 12 from regular play. I would hope he was more clinical. Like I said, they are low quality, which is what the XP suggests. And maybe that's half the problem. The shots we're giving him, getting him into, aren't of a decent enough quality. Whereas Beto this season, I mean, his sample stat was really low last season. He had 3 goals with an XG of 6. Uh, he was just shooting from everywhere, Beto, though. If you looked at his shots last season, he had like 43 and only 13 were on target. And this was one of the criticisms when he came to Everton. People were saying, I saw people saying who watched the Italian league, Everton fans are in for a fun situation with Beto. He'll just flip and shoot from anywhere. He does. He does. I think if you watch Beto, I don't think it's unfair to say he does just absolutely shoot from anywhere. The last game he played for us of a decent sample this season because it won't show us his his what's the word I'm looking for? Stats. So last season. This season, the best one he's played recently is the 1-1 draw against Southampton. We went out on penalties last month. Beto's stats for that game against Southampton, it's quite poetic because we play him again this weekend. He had two shots in 62 minutes. One of them was blocked outside the area. One of them inside the area with an XG of 0.04, and it was saved. Um, Touches 20. Even with him, we struggled. This was the game where he was running into people, by the way. He made Harwood Bellis look very, 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 very good because he was just running into people, which is infuriating. Um, so, yeah, in terms of the pair of them compared, like I said, you it's weird because, I mean, it's unfair to stat across them this season because Better, like I said, has got a really small sample size. But yeah, he just last season Beto proved to be wasteful as well, and people want Beto now because I think people are getting as sick of Calvert-Lewin in the squad. And there's more, by the way, to Calvert-Lewin, and we'll get into that in a minute. But people are sort of like, right, a change needs to happen, and that's Beto. And I think people will watch Beto for two games and then be a bit infuriated by him because he is infuriating. So someone say he was like the Portuguese Nias, and you know what? I don't think that's far from it. I don't think that's harsh. I don't think that's reactionary. He is in a lot of ways. He tries hard. He really tries hard, Beto. He really does. You can't lack his commitment. But he's technically sometimes I don't think he's as good for this team as Calvert-Lewin is technically. That's not me saying he's a bad player. I just think the team is built around Calvert-Lewin more. I do wish he wouldn't run into players a bit more. But he tries hard, which Nias proved as well in the end. That's not a slight, by the way. I like Dumont Nias. But he proved if you work hard, you'll get goals. And I think that's what Beto against Fulham proved. If you work hard, you'll get them. Obviously, with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, his contract is up at the end of the season. Beto is unless he gets sold, his contract isn't up. He's going to stay next season unless he's sold. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is still up in the air, and I think that is also one of the other problems. Is if he's going to go, if he was good, I think people, and I think this is, and I think I'm along these lines as well. I say people, I think I'm along the lines of this. Is if he's not going to be here next season, I don't think he should be taking the place of strikers that will be, unless he is in undroppable form. And I don't think he's in undroppable form. Like I said, it's what you offer to the team. He offers a dynamic and an ability that suits us more than Beto. Beto is better with the ball played in front of him and behind him to run onto. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is better when the ball is up to his chest and trying to bring others into play. So I think that's why we consist with Dominic Calvert-Lewin still, because aerially he's fantastic. He's a good header, and he's a lot more better, and he's a lot better for the build-up play than Beto is. Beto obviously has more of a shoot from anywhere. If you don't shoot, you don't score mentality, which I like. I like that he gets shots away. Um, and also Beto being next season, Dominic Calvert-Lewin potentially won't be. It's interesting though because him and Sean Dyche have both been speaking recently. Sean Dyche said after the Fulham game, and I quote, I can't see anything other than him being here, certainly until the end of his contract, then hopefully beyond, we'll see. And then Dominic Calvert-Lewin, so basically I read that as Dyche saying he's not going to get sold. The only time he's going to go is if he doesn't sign a new contract at the end of the season. Hopefully, Dyche hopes he'll sign a new contract, but if he doesn't, that's when he's going. And then Dominic Calvert-Lewin had recently come out with a couple of quotes the other day speaking about it. This is from the Liverpool Echo. He said, "For me, I'm joint third top scorer in the Premier League for Everton, so I need 13 more goals in the moment to surpass Romelu Lukaku." He then said, "As you can see, I know a lot about that. That's been something on my mind and on my agenda from the start of the season, being Everton's all-time highest scorer. For me, that'd be a very, very proud achievement." Now, I don't know if that's just me reading into it too much, but when he says agenda from the start of the season, I don't know if he thinks he's going to knock the other 13 goals out this season, become Everton's top goal scorer, and then he sees that as the nice ending of Everton and him, like top goal scorer. I'm going to go now and try and push on. And if he got 13 goals between now and then, I think semi-bigger clubs would come sniffing. Um, Maybe he thinks he can go on to a bigger club, and that'd be a nice way to end his time in Everton, and he'd be in the history books that way. Or if it means he's not going till he's got the Lukaku thing, and he might sign a new contract because he wants to beat Lukaku. I personally think from the way he's worded that about start of the season, he's hoping to get that done this season. Which, if he can knock up 13 more goals this season, I'd be very happy. Then it does question: is that him basically saying this year is his swan song and he'd like to go out being a history maker, or a record breaker for us? And I think that is what he's saying. I don't think it's a matter of, if I don't break Rom's record, I'm going to sign a new contract because that's my ambition here, which makes it a little bit more interesting. In terms of, obviously, if we play better, he's not going to do that. Beto did come out about his recent lack of minutes as well, which I've said is why it's hard to compare with Beto. He said, I'm emotional because these last few weeks have been really difficult for me. Everyone helped me, so here I am, standing here, happy scoring a goal. We didn't win, but at least we got a point, which was nice to see. His interview did really well, and I like that he was a fan when he was younger as well, which is crazy. But he does love to play football and he does love being here, and that will appease people, including myself. And by the way, this isn't me saying Dominic Calvert-Lewin doesn't want to be here. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has given a lot of himself for Everton Football Club. There were 2 seasons where, because of the managers we had, we were running him into the ground, and because of the lack of, replacements or alternatives to him, we ran him into the ground. And he gave his body for us. He's been playing with it in the past with injections and all that, and that has to be thanked. Um, I just in the back of my head think maybe Dominic Calvert-Lewin sees it as like, now's the time to, the pasture's new, and that's fine. That is really fine. I've been a big fan of Dominic Calvert-Lewin while he's been at Everton. If that's what he thinks, that's absolutely fine. That is just fine. Um, but then it would make me inclined to give Beto game time because Beto wants to be here. Sorry, wants to be here past next season. It's tough. It's tough. Like I said, it comes down to style. Dominic Calvert-Lewin wants to break Lukaku's record as well, so he's got that in him, and he wants to end on a good spell. Beto just wants opportunities. We tried playing both, and we just get overrun in midfield. Otherwise, I'd say just play both. But we get absolutely dogged in midfield, and it's really tough to watch with the two lads without that cam dropping in to create a five in defence. Deitch has done really well to realise that that's the best thing going forward is the 4-5-1 defensively, and it's like a 4-2-3-1 in attack in the attacking phase, and that does seems to benefit us a little bit more. Because usually when he was at Burnley, he played a 4-4-2 with the second striker like a pressing forward in the hole behind the striker and in the middle, almost like a 4-4-1-1, but he was a bit more of a pressing striker for the opposition's DM. Deitch has realised though with Everton, you've got players like Decore that had that bit more of a tenacity because they're a midfielder. They're better at tackling than a striker would be, and I think he's sort of tapped into that quite well. The cam centre mid centre forward role. Um. But yeah, so we can't play both of them. We have got other players though in the wings. We've got Brozier who's set to come back, and we've got Chimiti who will eventually come back. I think out the two of them, Brozier's going to get more minutes than Chimiti. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Obviously, right now we're on about Beto and Calvert-Lewin. It'll be interesting to see how Brozier fits into this squad. Brozier could be the answer we're looking for here, and he could knock one of these. If he wants to get games, he'll have to knock one of these lads off, won't he? At least. We only play with one striker. He's going to knock both of them off to get regular game time. But if he wants sub appearances, he's going to knock one of these off. I think my final thoughts on it are Dominic Calvert-Lewin is more liked by the manager, and I think suits the style of play better than Beto does. But we aren't getting the ball to him in decent situations where he can score, and the times he has, I don't think he's been as clinical. Also, I saw people, slating Calvert-Lewin for his XG. 3.46 XG off like the amount of shots he's had suggests that he's just not had great quality shots either. If he had a few more greater quality, it'd be a higher XG. And if the goals were the same, I'd be like, yeah, he is really, really wasteful. But 3.46 XG for the whole season just suggests that he's not getting enough good quality shots away. Beto, on the other hand, not very good in the build-up play at bringing everyone else involved. He's much more, I guess, the ball turns and runs or play it in front of him, he'll run onto it. And he shoots more. Again, you're going to have the same problem there. If you just shoot from anywhere, it's going to be loads of shots, really low XG because it's bad quality shots. And the goals, I mean, he's got one goal out of a 0.39 XG. Maybe he's just that bit more clinical. Um, but I don't think that is the case. I think for Southampton, I would make the Beto. I would start with Calvert-Lewin still, but I would make that Beto change a lot sooner. I think Beto has at least done enough to deserve getting more minutes and getting more of a chance to give Deitch a headache, which is what we all want, by the way. We all want. I want Beto to give Deitch a headache. It means we've got two good strikers then. And it should push them up. A high tide rises all ships. It should push both of them to to their peaks. Um, I think I would start Dominic Calvert-Lewin still, but I would bring Beto's minutes up. I would start bringing him on sooner. And then say now Southampton, Dominic Calvert-Lewin doesn't have a great game. And then Beto comes on, say now 60th minute, scores two goals. I think the next game after that, you've got to play Beto. I just don't think it'd be fair not to. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Let me know your thoughts because it is an interesting debate. And like I said, there's more to it than that. There's Dominic Calvert-Lewin's contract situation as well, which I think is in the back of people's heads and does cloud judgment slightly because, you know, he has a really good season. Though we're going to have to be without him next season, so we better get used to it this season. Type vibe is my biggest problem with it. Is don't hinder on him now. Don't depend on him so much now if he's not going to be here next season because the quicker we get used to him not being here, the better. But let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below. Beto or DCL, just put one of the two names. It'd be interesting to read through them, see who ends up with more of the census. Feel like people are going to pick Beto because it's fresh, it's new, it's different. Calvert-Lewin's had a run of games, now let's give someone else a go. And I don't argue against that, by the way. I think it's very sit on the fence mentality from me, but it actually is my thoughts. I think both have their strengths and weaknesses. And I think either way, we will be infuriated in bits of them that aren't too good. But I think they both offer big strengths as well that can get like praised. I would maybe, yeah, I'd give Better more minutes. And I'm bordering on just giving him a run of games because it's something different and new. But yeah, I'm hoping Brozier comes in with a whole different type of argument or at least sorts it all out. But like I said, let me know. Look forward to reading them. See you soon.